Good evening. You're welcome to News at 9 p.m. on Psalm TV, the pulse of the nation. You can also follow us on Facebook at Psalm TV and on YouTube at Psalm TV Live. Now the major headlines. National news. The Managing Director of the Nigerian Railway Corporation, Dr. Kayode Okpefa, has warned against the vandalism of railway infrastructure, stressing that such assets are not scrap, but vital components of national unity and development. As Muslims mark this year's Eid al-Adha, the Imam of Masjid Taqwa in Gombe, Sheikh Haruna Muhammad Tukur, emphasized the importance of sharing the meat of sacrificial animals with the needy in line with Islamic teachings. International news. Israeli airstrike and gunfire killed at least 13 Palestinians in Gaza on Saturday. Sport news. Portugal obtained Cristiano Ronaldo, dismissed the hype around the Nations League final being a showdown between himself and Spain's young star Lamine Yamal. I'm Bridget James, and now the news in full. The Managing Director of the Nigerian Railway Corporation, Dr. Kayode Okpefa, has warned against the vandalism of railway infrastructure, stressing that such assets are not scrap but vital components of national unity and development. Speaking on Channels Television's, Okpefa highlights the railway's role in linking Nigerians' diverse religious, culturally, and economically. He condemned the theft of railway materials, noting that what some label as scrap are essential to national integration, urging communities along railway corridors to protect the infrastructure. He emphasized their long-term benefits, including urban development and economic growth. Associate Professor Usman Bakari, head of the Department of Guidance and Counseling at Taraba State University, featured on the Psalm TV morning show, anchored by Abraham Joda Minor, where he offered guidance on the proper observance of Eid al-Adha. A renowned Islamic scholar, Baraka underscored the spiritual essence of the celebrations, urging Muslims to approach it with sincerity, compassion, and adherence to Islamic teachings. He also highlighted the importance of unity, charity, and self-reflection during the festive period.
To be specific, based on what you've asked, Eid al-Adha is a festival that Muslims do slaughter animals, rams, kettles, and so for the closeness, just for them to be closer to the Almighty God. So that is the meaning. If you say Eid, that is festival. If you say Adha, that is sacrifice. So these are the two terms conglomerated together that gives Muslim the latitude to celebrate the sacrifices and the activities that they have engaged right from the first day, second day, up to the 13th day of the month. So to be brief, this is what Eid al-Adha is all about. As you've asked, the significance, as I've mentioned, first thing first, closeness to the Almighty. Very, very important. If He asks you to sacrifice something, and you wholeheartedly do that, that is to say that you are close to Him. That is to say that you are obedient. That is to say that you can get reward from what He asked you to do. And not only this, we do sacrifice rams and so just for us to at least put smile on the faces of others. So this is one of the significance of Eid al-Adha. And you know, it's good for us to at least observe festival, something that has to do with that, so that we can refresh ourselves and so. So these are some of the significance of Eid al-Adha also.
As Muslims marked this year's Eid al-Adha, the Imam of Masjid Taqwa in Gombe, Sheikh Haruna Muhammad Tukur, emphasized the importance of sharing the meat of sacrificial animals with the needy, in line with Islamic teachings. Some TV correspondents complete the report.
CS Eid al-Ahdan coincided with Friday, the day reserved for the weekly congregational Jummah prayers. The Imam of Masjid Taqwa in New GRA Bombay, Sheikh Harun Muhammad Tukur, urged Muslims to uphold the true teaching of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and observe both the Eid and Jummah prayers with gratitude to Allah.
The sermon of today is about showing our gratefulness to Almighty Allah Ta'ala for bringing us these two combined Eid together, that is Eid al-Adha and Jummah prayer, in a situation whereby Eid al-Adha or Eid al-Fitr fall in that very day. Islamically, it's allowed for a Muslim to observe the two Eid together.
Speaking to journalists shortly after the Friday prayers at the mosques, Cleric described prayers as one of the major pillars of Islam and emphasized the importance of sharing the meat of the sacrificial animal with the needy.
And the message of the sermon is all about the bounties, favors of Allah Ta'ala for giving us this opportunity and for sparing our lives to witness these two important occasions in Islam, that is two Eid, to be combined together and to be observed in the same day. Other message of the sermon is to call attention of the Muslim Ummah to share what they have sacrificed to those that are in need, their neighbors, relatives, and any other among the needy. And this is also part of showing gratefulness to Allah Ta'ala by sharing what you have with those that are in need.
Kamal Hamajo, Some TV News.
The Gaba Development Associations in Lavun Local Council, Niger State, has condemned the recent pardon granted by Governor Mohammed Umaru Bago to 11 individuals sentenced to death for the 2018 killing of 7 unharmed Gaba villagers. Paul Ghana, speaking at the Mina press conference, urged the governor to revoke the pardon, citing deep pains among victims, families, and warning it could threaten peace and security in the area. The victims were originally sentenced by Justice Maimuna A. Abubakar in detailed 2022 ruling. State Attorney General Barrister Nasiru Muazu defended the pardon as part of reconciliation efforts between the Gaba and Amfami communities. Authorized under the governor's constitutional powers and officially gazetted on May 28, 2025, the Gaba community remains excluded from peace and insists justice must prevail to maintain rule of law and lasting peace in the state. The Gaba Development Association in Lavun local government, Niger State, has strongly opposed the recent pardon granted by Governor Mohammed Umaru Bago to 11 individuals sentenced to death for the 2018 killings of 7 unarmed community members. At the press conference in Mina, the association chairman, Paul Ghana, called on the governor to revoke the pardon, highlighting the pain it has caused victims' families and warning it could destabilize peace in the area. Insists that justice must prevail. Rivers State Sole Administrator Vice Admiral Ibok Ete Ibas has pledged to revitalize the abandoned Songhai integrated farms, describing its neglect as a significant loss to the economy and food security. Following an inspection tour of key projects in Tai and Obio Akpo local government area, Ibas vowed to transform the farm into a center for sustainable agriculture, job creation, and improve food supply. He also inspected other neglected facilities, including a primary health care center, an abandoned primary school, a mother and child hospital, and a cancer and cardiovascular diagnosis center. expressing concern over the underused expression consent over it and the agricultural and healthcare assets. IBA has called on local communities to support the revival efforts, stressing that success depends on collective commitments and local ownership. Plans include manpower enforcement, facility upgrades, and stronger management, with upcoming stakeholders meeting aimed at attracting private sector investments. The Labour Party has called on federal government to honor the late former Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Mohammed Owais, by implementing the electoral reform commendations he championed. Senator Nadi Usman, chairman of the Labour Party National Caretaker Committee, urged swift action to adopt the US Electoral Reform Report, which was submitted in 2008 and aimed at strengthening the independence of the Electoral Commission, reducing fraud, and enhancing democratic institutions. Usman described Justice Owais as a towering legal figure whose legacy should be preserved through meaningful reforms rather than mere tributes. She emphasized that implementing the report's recommendations will serve as a fitting tribute to his lifelong commitment to judicial integrity and credible elections. Justice Owais, who served as Chief Justice from 1995 to 2006, was widely respected for his integrity and dedication to judicial independence. His passing marked a significant loss for Nigeria's judiciary and the ongoing efforts to ensure electoral transparency. Peter Obi, Labour Party's 2023 presidential candidate, has called on the federal government to intervene in the plight of teaching and non-teaching staff at the Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Akwa, who have reportedly gone unpaid for 5 years. The workers employed between 2019 and 2020 have been excluded from the federal payroll system, denying them their salaries despite valid appointments. Obi, after meeting the affected staffs, condemned the situation as systemic neglect that has led to evictions, family breakdowns, untreated illness, and even death among staff members. He described the issue as a moral and humanitarian concern, emphasizing that neglecting university workers undermines Nigerians' future. He urged the government to promptly enroll the staff onto the integrated payroll and personal information system and pay all outstanding arrears. Obi also highlighted similar challenges faced by academic and non-academic workers across Nigeria. Public universities, including salary delay and poor working conditions. The Oyo State Maintenance Agency has expressed sympathy to the families and communities affected by recent flooding in Lu Aja and Imini, a Fijo local government area. In a statement issued by Chairman Busoyo Oguladi, the agency acknowledged the severe impact of flood on homes and livelihoods, noting that there was one casualty and several injuries reported. Ogun led extended condolences to those affected, urging that the support of family and friends provides comfort during this difficult period. He also assured residents that the agency would take prompt action to prevent future occurrences of such flooding. The statement concluded with a message of strength and solidarity for the affected individuals and families as they cope with the aftermath of the disaster. The Charismatic Bishop Conference of Nigeria Benue chapter has opposed calls for the declarations of a state of emergency in Benue State amidst rising insecurity. Archbishop Alexander Nyoke, the state overseer, stated in Makurdi on Saturday that Governor Hyson Aliyah should be supported rather than sidelined. He's emphasized that what Benue needs is unity, not confront security challenges, not military intervention. Nwoko highlighted that appointing a sole administrator, possibly from outside the state, would not solve the problem, citing the example of Rivers State. He also cited biblical teachings on submission to authorities and praised the governor's developmental efforts despite ongoing security issues. The Archbishop commended President Bola Tinubu for supporting Benue and directing the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede, to relocate to the state to help address insecurity. Since the general's arrival, there have been no further attack, and Nyoke called for continued peace and cooperation. Residents of Ikwong Akpang village in Atol Klein, Uyo local government area, Akwa Ibom State, have appealed to the state government and police to intervene amid threats from suspected cultists linked to the KKK confrontatory. The cultists reportedly issued a warning letter posted on the village council hall door, threatening violence in response to alleged harassments by community leaders and security agencies. The latter named several village council members as targets, asserting that the cult's leader is from Ifa and vowing to protect their members. In response, the village heads, Idetong Ebong, urged Governor Umo Eno and Police Commissioner Baba Azare to increase police patrol and take swift action to prevent escalation. During an emergency meeting, Ebong identified two individuals believed to be responsible for recent disturbance and stressed the seriousness of the threat. The police public relations officer, Tim Fon John, promised prompt action upon receiving contact details of the council members reportedly in hiding or their safety. The National Hajj Commission of Nigeria has confirmed that all 484 Nigerian pilgrims affected by a fire at Imaratus Sanang Hotel on Shari Mansour Street in Makkah are safe and accounted for. The fire occurred around noon on Saturday, June 7, 2025, and involved pilgrims from 6 Nigerian private tour operators. Emergency response team from Saudi authorities and hotel staff quickly contained the fire, preventing it from spreading throughout the building. NACON's chairman, Professor Abdullahi Usman, along with senior officials, visited the site to assess the situations and ensure the pilgrims' welfare. The affected pilgrims have been relocated to Mina with arrangements on the way for their resettlement in new accommodations. Professor Usman expressed gratitude that no lives were lost and assured that the Commission will provide all necessary support to caution the impact of incidents. NACON also commended the swift actions of Saudi emergency services in managing the crisis. Edo State Governor Senator Monday Okpeyolo has expressed strong support for recent defections of Akwa Ibom State Governor Pastor Umo Eno from the People's Democratic Party to the All Progressive Congress, saying the move would benefit both the South-South region and Nigeria as a whole. In a statement released on Saturday, Okpeyolo praised Governor Eno's bold decision to align with the APC's progressive ideal and national vision. He highlighted that Eno's defection, which saw 31 local government chairmen and all Akwa Ibom lawmakers follow lawsuits, with 3 commissioners resigning in protest, signal a commitment to integrating Akwa Ibom into the federal government's developmental agenda under President Bola Tinubu's renewed hope mantra. Okpeyolo said the decision by Governor Umo Eno to join the APC shows his foresight and the dedications to the welfare of his people. It signifies a strategic alignment that will undoubtedly unlock greater opportunities, foster stronger collaboration, and accelerate the delivery of democratic dividends to the good people of Akwa Ibom State. The move will benefit the South-South region. It also emphasizes the importance of unity and synergy between states and the federal government for optimal progress and contributes significantly to national cohesion and development. The Edo governor assured his Akwa Ibom counterpart of Edo State government's unwavering support and cooperation, expressing readiness to collaborate closely with ENO to promote good governance, economic prosperity, and the well-being of Nigerians. Renowned lawmaker Mike Ezekwom's son has criticized the poor state of Nigerians' courts, describing them as dilapidated and underfunded. Speaking on Channels TV, he called for improved funding and welfare for judges, warning that neglect of the judiciary threatened justice delivery. He pressed recent efforts to raise judicial salaries but insisted more support is needed. Ozekhom emphasized that corruption in the judiciary is dangerous and urged the government to treat judges with respect and provide necessary resources. His comment followed the recent suspensions of the Judiciary Staff Union strike over poor working conditions. The General Overseer of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, Pastor Enoch Adeboye, has shared that God warned him his first child will die if he ever left the church. Speaking during the June Holy Ghost service theme, Destined for Greatness, Part 2, Adebayo stressed the need for spiritual obedience and consistency. He recounted how God told him to remain in RCCG despite the popularity of other ministries. When he first became born again, Adebayo noted that RCCG was still unknown at the time, operating from a modest building in Ebute, Meta. Despite being a university lecturer, he submitted to leadership under a pastor with no formal education. Following divine instruction, he urged Christians, especially youth, to seek God's direction and remain steadfast where they are divinely placed, adding, "I am not saying we are better than any other denomination." Former Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi has condemned the continued non-payment of salaries to staffs of Nnamdi Azikiwe University. And clear their outstanding arrears. Borno State Governor Babagana Zulum and the Shehu of Borno Abubakar El Kenemi have urged the federal government to expedite the Alau Dam rehabilitations and expansion project to prevent another major flooding disaster. During the Shehu Salah homage in Maiduguri, Zulum expressed concern over the slow progress of the project, despite an earlier 80 billion naira federal approval and a groundbreaking in March. He said a state committee had been formed for interim interventions and vowed to continue pressing federal authorities. Zulum also pledged to connect all local government headquarters to the national grid and begin widespread road rehabilitation once the pork quarry plant is completed. The Shehu echoed the call for urgency, warning of a repeat of the September 2024 flood if the project remains stalled. Let's pause for a short while and take the commercial break. Stay close, don't drift away. More thrilling news is ready to show. Please stay.
Commissioner, Taraba State Ministry of Environment and Climate Change, Honorable Aishat Abdulaziz Barde, felicitates with the Governor of Taraba State, His Excellency Dr. Abu Kefes, his Deputy Aminu Alkali, the Speaker, Taraba State House of Assembly, Right Honorable John Kezito Bonzena, the Traditional Council of Chiefs, and the good people of Taraba State on the Eid al-Kabir celebration. May the Eid further strengthen the bond of peace, unity, and the passion to preserve the environment in our beautiful state. Happy Salah celebration. Announcer, Honorable Aishat Abdulaziz Barde, Commissioner, Ministry of Environment and Climate Change.
Welcome back. We are glad you're still here with us. Coming up next, on international news, Israeli airstrike and gunfire killed at least 13 Palestinians in Gaza on Saturday, according to the Territory Civil Defense Agency. 6 were reportedly shot near the U.S.-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation Aid Center in Rafah, where thousands had gathered for food assistance. Witnesses said Israeli forces fired from armored vehicles as people approached the distribution points. In a separate incident, an Israeli strike on a house near Al-Shifa Hospital in northern Gaza killed 7 others. The Israeli military said it is investigating both incidents. On sport news, Portugal captain Cristiano Ronaldo dismissed the hype around the Nations League finals being a showdown between himself and Spain's young star Lamine Yamal. Speaking ahead of the Munich finals, Ronaldo, 40, acknowledged he belongs to another generation compared to 17-year-old Yamal, but emphasized the match is about the teams, not individual players. Ronaldo highlighted Spain's overall strength, praising key players like Nico Williams, Pedri, and coach Luis de la Fuente. He urged the media to allow Yamal to develop without pressure, noting the teenager is only slightly older than his own son. Both nations have previously won the Nations League, with Spain as current champion and Portugal winning the inaugural tournament in 2019. That's all for this edition of News at 9 p.m. from SOM TV. But before we go, here is a recap of the major headlines. Thank you for watching. I remain Blinks, and goodbye for now.
The Commissioner, Taraba State Ministry of Environment and Climate Change, Honorable Aishat Abdulaziz Barde, felicitates with the Governor of Taraba State, His Excellency Dr. Abu Kefes, his Deputy Aminu Alkali, the Speaker, Taraba State House